Hey guys, welcome to the Unix tutorials. In this tutorial I'll be going over SSH command. SSH is basically a command that allows you to do remote login. So you can do a lot of like fancy stuff, like and executing remote commands, or SSH to into another remote, and then grabs the files from there and such and such. So yeah, you can do a lot of stuff in there. So let's get started. What SSH is, I need a remote host or a local host. So to do that, I need to have another user. I need to log in. Well, I can log in as myself, but just to demonstrate just to go over how to add another user, we can do that here. So let's do the sudo useradd and then -m, so that it will automatically create the home directory for the new user. So I just call it bush. Okay, and then I type in my password to make sure that I get that. Okay, and then I have to do a sudo and then I have to do a usermod, and to change the default shell program for the user bush. Okay, and then the next one is I can change the password for bush. I go to the sudo again for bush, so it's a passwd, and I just type in my the new password. Okay, and then I have successfully created a new user. Okay, so what I can do right now is that I can log in. So let's pretend localhost, right? It's a remote host. Let's pretend that, or you can think of it as localhost. That's fine. But what SSH does is that it can remote log into another server, basically. So we can do SSH and then the bush at localhost. Okay, and then we log in, ask you for your password. Okay, type in the password, and now you're logged in as the bush. Okay, so you log in as bush right now, and now you can okay, so let's so this is basically how you log in, right? Now before that, so you notice that every time when we log in we have to type in password, right? So one thing we can do is like we can add, we can we want to do like a remote login without the password, right? So what we can do is that we can go back to the we go to exit, and so we get out of the SSH, and then right now we can create. What we have to do if we want to log in remote login to another machine without password, we have to create a SSH key, and then so that like when we log in to another to the remote host, it will use that key to check if the user has the right to log in to another server. So to create a SSH key, what you can do ssh -keygen -t rsa. Okay, you press enter, it will give you like a bunch of prompts. You don't have to put in a passphrase, and the passphrase is for additional securities. You don't have to do that, but maybe somebody wants to do that, but I usually don't do that. But so, and then so basically you have ssh -keygen. The -t is for like what kind of encryption you want. There's the option of RSA, and there's also option of the DSA. Okay, I'm not very familiar with the security, so I'm not sure. I mean, I went over security courses. It was pretty dry for me, so I didn't pay attention to what the difference is. So yes, by default I like to use the RSA. I believe it's more secure than DSA. If I'm wrong, correct me. Yeah, so I already created the SSH key, and when I enter this command, the ssh -keygen -t rsa, it automatically creates a .ssh directory, right? So when we go into the .ssh, okay, we see two files. Okay, now these are actually I added later on, right? The obama.key and then the config. These are, and then the known host usually is not there. If you haven't done any SSH, you probably don't have a known host yet. Okay, but anyway, so the only, when you do the ssh-keygen, right, it creates these two files. One is the id rsa.pub. Okay, that pub is public, so that's the public key. Okay, and then the other file is id underscore RSA, no extension. This is a private key. Okay, so when we say we want to do the key checking, when we're trying to log into the remote host and we want to do the key checking, we have to get the public key to the other remote host. So we have to copy our id rsa.pub, okay, to the remote host where we want to log in into. Okay, so that the next time when we log in, when we do SSH to the remote host, okay, our SSH program will use the id rsa, the private key without the extension, the private key. Okay, well, the next time when we log in into the remote host, it will use the private key and then try to check it with the public key that we copy to the remote host, and then if the encryption, if they match, you know, then login will be successful, basically. Okay, so let's go with the procedure. So we created the SSH key. Okay, it generates one public key and one private key, and we have to copy this public key to the remote host. Okay, you could do that manually if you want. So to do that manually, you could do this. You can do SCP. Okay, SCP is secure copy. Okay, it uses SSH underneath. Okay, but basically it allows you to copy files between different hosts, basically. So SSH, and then the first parameter is the file. Okay, so it will be id rsa, okay, .pub. Okay, that's the first parameter. So the second parameter is that you have to specify where you want to copy this file to, right? So here you have to specify the username. So we just create the bush is the username, at localhost, okay, which is the host name. Okay, it doesn't because I don't have a remote host set up, so I use localhost. Okay, okay, and then the colon. Okay, and then after the colon you specify the path or the file name or the new file name. Okay, so what we can do like the new file name is going to be the home directory. Under home directory there's .ssh, okay, and then .ssh, and then you have to specify this file name. Okay, now all keys, if you need all public keys, you know, should be stored under the home /.ssh/authorized keys. Okay, this is when you want to do manually. Okay, so all the public keys will go under this public key, this file. Let me expand that. It's kind of weird. Okay. Okay, so SCP id rsa.pub, okay, bush at localhost. Okay, I can just specify the, you know, if you don't like the tilt, I can specify the full path for the home of the bush user, and .ssh, and then the authorized keys. Okay, you copy to it, and then you know, you'll be able to SSH to there. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and then you have to specify the password. Okay, and you do that. Okay, looks like yes, that's because I didn't create the .ssh. Okay, so let's log into bush at localhost full-ccast. Okay, alright, and let's make this directory called ssh. Okay, we created that. Now we get out, we do the copying, we copy to it. Okay, so it's been copied, right? So so now when you do ssh bush at localhost, okay, see, you don't need any passwords anymore, so you log in already. Okay, now one drawback to doing it manually is because like to do the SCP is because SCP will overwrite the authorized keys, right? So if the authorized key file has so many keys in there, and you overwrite it with your own public key into the authorized key, you will wipe out all the other keys. Okay, that's not good. What you want to do is that you should be appending your keys to the authorized keys file. Okay, so one way preferably is like, you know, I would like to do this. What I can do is I can go to the, so let me get out, let me go back to the original one, and then I would like to open my public key, right? I want to open my public key, so do a vim, you know, open it. Okay, so this is the key. Okay, this is just one line. So what you can do is you can you know, copy it, you know, you can highlight it, you know, and then copy it. Okay, once you copy, you have make sure you have to copy the whole line. Okay, and then when you copy it, you can do, and then you got to go to the push at localhost again. Okay, and then you go to .ssh, and then you open the authorized keys. Okay, and then you have to append to it, right? You append to it, and then you type in the paste. Okay, I didn't have that copy down, but anyway, okay, you shouldn't try to overwrite the authorized key. Okay, it's a bad practice. Okay, it's a bad practice. Okay, so you shouldn't do that. What you should do is that you should always append to the authorized keys, and I believe that's what the other command would do. Okay, to when you want to do it like automatically. Okay, so the other way, let me go back to the push. I want to delete everything. Okay, let me delete everything so I can start over. Okay. Okay, so what you should do is that you should do the ssh-copy-id. Okay, you do ssh-copy-id, and then the first parameter is the push, the username, and then the host name. Okay, what this does is like okay, ssh-copy-id will copy the default key. Okay, you can have multiple, you can have a lot of keys in your in this directory. You can have a lot, like, you know, whatever keys you have. Okay, here I have the Obama key. Okay, so you can have like different kind of like public keys, you know, that you can have. Okay, but you know, yes, you have different I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. Say you can have like a lot of different keys in your .ssh, right? But when you use the ssh-copy-id command, this ssh-copy-id, okay, you will be copying the default one, which is the one with the id underscore rsa.pub. Okay, it will copy this default key to the remote host. Okay, so let's do this. So let's do ssh-copy-id and then the push at localhost. Okay, if we do that, okay, we gotta specify the, you know, password, and then okay, so now it's finished. Okay, so we can do ssh push at localhost, and we're in. Okay, now notice that the ssh folder is created automatically. Okay, and the authorized keys are created automatically. Okay, so now if we, so let's get out. Okay, let's just log in as another person called John. Okay, and then I'm gonna create a SSH key here, keygen strsa. Okay, here you don't you know, just put default. You know, it will say it will put it into default, so we don't really care. You don't need to put in passphrase if you don't want to. Okay, just keep doing that. Okay, so now John, right? John wants to log in as a push. Okay, so what John can do is that John can ssh-copy-id, okay, and then push at localhost. Okay, yes, push's password, yes. Okay, so now it's being added to the push, right? So if we ssh to push at localhost, and then we go to .ssh. Okay, we open up the authorized keys. Okay, see this. Okay, it doesn't overwrite the existing. You notice the command, the ssh-copy-id. It does everything automatically. It creates the .ssh file folder, and then it appends. Okay, it appends the key to the authorized keys. Okay, so preferably I think you should use ssh-copy-id. Okay, instead of doing like trying to overwrite the file basically. Okay, so just so you know, just good practice. Okay, so now I'm gonna get out. Okay, so now you notice that something, right? You have to type in the whole freaking username at host blah blah blah, right? So one of the things that you can do is you can configure it so that you can do ssh John. That's it, you know. Okay, this is supposed to, I did this before the tutorial with the recording. This is supposed, John is an alias. Okay, John is an alias, and it connects to John Smith at localhost. Okay. Okay, so this helps us that, you know, we don't have to type in the whole like username at you know, host name. So to do that, to create an alias, we can open this file. Okay, you have to, if it's not there, you create it. Okay. Okay, so here you see that I have two sets here, right? I have the John, and then I have the Obama, right? Okay, so here you call the, to create a alias, you have to put in the host and then the alias name. Okay, and then next time it should be the host name, you know, or user. Okay, so you can put in the host name or user, and that's how I was able to log into John without specifying anything. Okay, so let's do this for Bush. Okay, so let's do the host. Okay, I'm gonna call it Bush. Okay, and then the host name is localhost, and the user is the Bush. Okay, and if you want, you can specify, you know, your another key. Okay, which I will go over later. I would just want to go over this alias right now, and then I'll show you how to specify different keys. Okay, so we just added our Bush alias. Okay, so now we're able to SSH to Bush, and you see we don't have to do SSH Bush at localhost anymore. Okay, so that's the convenience. You know, if you put it in there, it's just, you know, it helps. Okay. All right. So, okay. So now back to the topic where we let's say you have like a lot of keys in there, and then okay, let's go to here. Okay, so let's say you created, like, you know, you have different keys for Obama. You have one key for Obama, you have one key for Bush, you have one key for, you know, Clinton and stuff like that. Okay, so you copy the file, you copy the public key to the Obama's file, right? So you copy the public key, okay, to the Obama's and then you basically doing the SSH, you do the ssh-copy-id, okay, to Obama at you know, localhost. Okay, you copy the key to there, okay, and then you change your private key to obama.key. Okay, and when you log in to if you want to use the Obama key, right? If you want to use the Obama key, you should do -i. Okay, and then the Obama at the localhost. Okay, this is how you specify another key to use, basically. Okay, so -i is when you want to specify a different kind of key. Okay, now remember, this private key and public key, they have to match. And when I say match, this is like when you created the SSH key, right? And it would give you the ID RSA.pub and ID RSA without the extension. You have to make sure that, you know, the public key maps to this you know, the ID RSA. Okay. Maybe it's more clear to do a demonstration. So let's quickly do a you know, demonstration here. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Okay, let's create a user. Okay, it's called Joe. Okay, or Joe, and then sudo usermod. Okay, Joe -s. We've specified the bash for Joe. And then we specify the password. Okay, Joe. And then did I type it right? Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so I specified the Joe, right? Okay. So now let's say we just created these two keys, right? The ID RSA the pub and the ID RSA, right? And now we're gonna do SSH copy-id, okay, to Joe at the localhost. Okay, we're gonna use the default one. We're gonna use the ID RSA.pub. Okay. Alright, so specify the password. Okay, so it's being added. Okay. Alright, So now I'm gonna change this id.rsa, right? And I'm gonna call it joe.key. You know, this joe.key. Okay, so if I do ssh, you know, to joe at localhost right now, see, I have to type in the password, right? That's because why? Because the default one is missing. Because I changed the default key's name to another name. So what I can do is I can do ssh-i and then joe.key. Okay, and then joe at the local host. Okay, and then I'll be able to log in as Joe. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so you can also I'm not going to demonstrate this, but you can also do a ssh-f, and then this is a config file. Okay, maybe you have a different sets of configuration files. The configuration files is the is this one, in case you haven't noticed yet. Okay, this is the configuration file. So you can have, like, you know, different configurations. So let's say cp config to another config, you know, and then maybe open another config and then just delete something else. Let's say delete Obama and Bush in here. So now if I do ssh -f another config, okay, and I try to log in as Bush. Okay, it's not gonna happen. Okay, because Bush is not in the another config. Okay, so this is how you specify another config file. All right. Let me see what else in the list. Yes, one cool thing about the one of the really cool thing that I found. Oh, what happened? Oh, okay, never mind. John. Okay, so SSH to. Asking me. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, because I have to copy. Let me move that joe.key, cp joe.key, because I changed the name. So when I try to log in as John, is looking for this private .id RSA key is missing. So now if I do John, should be fine. Okay, so I log in as John, right? So if I try to log in as from John, right? Right now I'm logging as John, right? So if I try to SSH to Joe, okay. Joe is a bad example. Let me see. SSH to Obama at localhost. Why is it asking me password? Oh, alright, it uses an obama.key. Okay, anyway. If I SSH to Joe, let's see if this one, what prompt. Oh, why? God damn it. Right, because I have to delete. Okay, I have to delete the. Okay, let me go to that SSH directory, and I'm gonna remove the known host. Okay, I'm gonna remove known host. So I don't know any hosts. Okay, or maybe, like, you know, this happens like once, you know, like when I set up the SSH normally to another host, and then all of a sudden the admins move the host, you know, change the host to another host, and then the key, the host key is no longer valid. It's wrong, basically. Okay, so now when you do SSH to the local host, okay, it will ask you this question: is that the you know, the authenticity blah 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 blah. You know, this is a problem when you have a script, right? When you have a script and the SSH to another, you know, something, or it's tries to SCP something from somewhere to somewhere, okay, and this prompt comes up. Okay, that's the problem, because, like, you know, we cannot, you know, when you do a script, you cannot there's no interaction between humans, you know, so we could ignore that. You know, we can try to ignore that. So to ignore that, we have to do something. We have to specify something in the parameter. So what we can do is, you can do -o and then user known host key. Okay, it's equal to dev no. Okay, so we're giving it some garbage host known host files. Okay, so remember, we just deleted our known host, right? So we want to give it another known host. Okay, and this known host is a garbage, basically. There's nothing in there. Okay, and then we do another option, which is let me see what it's StrictHostKeyChecking. Okay, and we say, hey, don't check the host. Okay, so what this does, like, okay, the strict host key checking, okay, it will automatically add the host key to our known host files. Okay, and because we specify our known host file to some garbage file, this host key will not be written to our known host key. Okay, so this is just something temporary. We don't want to write this known host key to our appropriate known host key file. So that's why we specify garbage, the dev/null. Okay, I think this video is a little bit long, but right now if you do this, okay, you press enter. Oh, did I type something wrong? User known host files. I'm sorry, no host file. Okay. So now see, it doesn't prompt you for that yes or no anymore. Okay, and if we have set up the SSH correctly, it will not ask us for password. Okay, in this case I did not set up the SSH key properly for Obama to Joe, so that's why it prompted me for password. But if we had that, if we have that SSH key configured correctly, it will not prompt us. Okay, so yes, there's a lot of options you can do, and if you search Google for like a SSH tips and tricks and whatever, there's a lot of stuff out there. I'm kind of still an amateur at this, so I haven't gone into like those configurations. They have a lot of about keeping the connection alive for 5 hours, or using using the same connection and stuff like that. Yes, so yeah, so check it out yourself. I'm just giving you a crash course in this video. So yeah, stay tuned for the next video. It will be about the I believe it's either SCP or shell script. Alright, thanks. Hey guys, thank you for watching my videos. Make sure to subscribe to me, to like me on my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/FusiCast, and also make sure to follow me on the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/UJDesigner85, and also my blog, which is thefusicast.com. Thank you.